Hey there, sweet peas. Boy, today I was felt drawn to a lot of decks. I have this feeling that Medusa has a message for somebody out there, and I hope that person finds this video and finds these messages helpful. I don't work with Medusa a lot, but for some reason she really came forward for me today. You have 19, Effervesce, Ace of Cups, and 4 of Cups. Excuse me, I need to work with the space that I have here. Okay. So, I don't think it's talked about a lot, but Medusa I think gets a bad rep. She was essentially punished for saying no. And she was banished, humiliated, and turned into a monster because she sought to have autonomy. And I know that's something a lot of people can relate to. And I imagine, you know, if the same thing happened to you, you'd probably be pretty grumpy too. So I do feel there is also another goddess reaching out today, and I am not entirely sure who it is. I know there's somebody. I'm feeling it. I've been feeling it very strongly. I'm just not sure quite yet who it is. So the card that came out in addition is Forgiveness. And how funny that it's a man holding a gun to the head of a woman. Very strange image to have after what I said there. We have Crossroads. Oops. You have to forgive me here. I am so sorry. We have so much space to work with. Doing the best that I can here. Make sure the video is... Yeah, I think that's all right. Okay. What else do we have here? Oops. Excuse me. I'm not going to take all of these cards. I'm not going to take all of these cards. Give me a message or messages for the collective. Message or messages for the collective. Compassion for self and others. Soften heart. Be gentle. See the good. That is lovely. All right. A couple of decks here. Oracle decks for advice. All right. We have Jump the Frog and Inner Beauty. I'll come back to these later. We have Mercurial. Today cannot be like tomorrow. And the last advice card. Advice for the collective. Advice for the collective. Advice for the collective. When I lean on the faith of the universe, peace becomes real. Okay. All right, so starting out here, we have effervescence. I think this correlates to the sun. Let me take a look at this. Each one of these cards corresponds to a god or goddess, which I thought was a very neat aspect of this deck. It was designed specifically with that kind of connection to spirit. Okay, so yes, the sun or soulshine. Joy, success, celebration, vitality, motivation, abundance. Maxim equals 68. Believe in good luck. Solar deities and sun worship can be found throughout most of recorded history in various forms. People throughout history offered sacrifices to the sun in exchange for an abundant harvest. On this card, the sun is represented by Pythia, the name of the high priestess of the Temple of Apollo at Delphi. The Greek god of the sun gives oracles through Pythia, who falls into a trance under the influence of vapors and fumes coming from the inner sanctum of the oracle. Pythia holds her arms out in supplication as the intense rays of the sun bathe her in its incandescent glow. When this card appears in a reading, it signals a time for rejoicing. The sun is the source of all life on our planet, and it represents life energy itself. It is a harbinger of joy, success, and celebration. It signals confident vitality and deserved success. Revel in that feeling of optimism and fulfillment. This card represents the dawn which follows the darkest of nights. Well, that is very sweet. Now, I'm not going to go into the entire, let's see, the entire story here, but apparently in this deck, the Suit of Cups is, it correlates to Slavic legends, so, or East European. So let's see here. For the Ace of Cups, Slavic mythos still submits that ravens specifically are messengers from the afterlife, perhaps because the raven is considered the wisest of them all. So it doesn't look like this has a specific spirit or deity, but I'll come back to my thoughts on that in a moment. And the Four of Cups features a satyr, which was also actually quite common to find in Greek mythology as well. Interesting. Okay, let's get into it, shall we? So I noticed here many of these cards feature birds. So we have birds in the Sun card. We have it in the Ace of Cups. We have it over here. And I saw, it looks almost like, I'm not quite sure what that is, but it looks almost like a bird's skull is holding the candle on the Crossroads card here on the end of the staff. It makes me feel like perhaps the other energy I'm picking up, it might be the Morrigan. If you work with her, if you feel that energy as well, that might be significant to you. So we have as the very first energy the Sun card. So, you know, I think you're being advised to embrace the outdoors, actually. I'm picking that up more than anything else. The sun, the warmth, I think the sun's rays could be very healing for you, because cups are a watery energy, and I think between the fire of the sun and perhaps afterwards a ritual bath or bathing somewhere in the wild, a lake, a river, the ocean, the sea. I think that would be very, very beneficial for you. And Medusa herself had a great connection to bodies of water. I think, you know, that would be worth looking into if that's something that interests you. What is really, really interesting here is that we have an ace, which is new beginnings, and that watery energy is about love, you know, emotions, how we feel. And you can see in the next card, the satyr is contemplating and doesn't really seem to see or appreciate the cups. So I'm wondering here if you had something, if you tried to have a new beginning and you just got so hung up on something that happened in the past that it's made it really hard for you to find forgiveness for the person. Is it a person? Something the universe brought to your door? Whatever this is, I think it was a person. But whatever this is, it feels like you're being urged to find forgiveness, not just for the offending party, but for yourself. Because we have next the crossroads. Now, the crossroads is it's a place where you can pretty much choose your direction. You're at a point in your path where you have an opportunity to make a choice what direction you go, and you're being urged to have compassion for yourself and for others. Mercurial is reminding you today cannot be like tomorrow. So whatever happened in the past, if it's all up in your head and all you can think about is the past, well, you know, then it feels like you're not really embracing today. You're not embracing the now. You're stuck in that moment, that feeling of whatever was going on in the past. I don't really think that's where you want to be. You know, you're reminded, when I lean on the faith of the universe, peace becomes real. So, you know, if you can have some faith in the fact that forgiving yourself mostly, but also finding a little forgiveness for the situation that happened, I think that's where you'll find your peace, because it's so hard. It's so hard to let horrible things in the past go and move on. Believe me, I more than understand that. I've gone through plenty of crappy situations myself in the past where it was really, really difficult to let go the wrongs that were done. It really was. Trust me, I get that. But let's take a look at these here. We have Jump the Frog. Sometimes waiting is no good. You have to jump, even if there is fear. The best things are on the other side of that jump. Take a breath and release your fear. Jump. And next we have Inner Beauty. Aardvarks are strange-looking animals, but they have a purpose and an inner playful beauty. See your inner beauty and allow it to be seen. So, you know, Medusa was said to be terrible to behold. She had a monstrous face that turned people who looked upon her to stone. I think that you are afraid to let people see you. But the thing is, you're not going to turn people to stone unless you essentially stonewall them. If you fail to have that compassion for others, if you fail to have that forgiveness for yourself, and you put nothing but a wall up so that no one is able to get through to you, you don't see the cups that are being offered to you, it's going to be really, really hard for you to find the peace that you're looking for. So essentially, I think you're being guided to just relax. Relax. You know, like I said, spend a little time outdoors, get a little sun, take a walk when the sun is out. If you're able, find a clean body of water outdoors where you are able to take a cleansing bath. And if that's not possible, then do it at home, you know, do it in your shower. You can get bath salts that smell, you know, of a scent that you like, lavender or rose or something, you know, something that makes you feel good and refreshed, maybe eucalyptus or something like this. Anyway, the point being, you know, you're holding on to yesterday. And this is your opportunity at the crossroads to make a choice to walk a different path. You're being urged to find forgiveness for others and yourself. So if you can utilize that compassion that you desire from others for yourself, if you can see the good in yourself and others, even though it may feel really difficult right now, I think taking those actions and just getting out of your head and giving yourself a little grace, a little forgiveness, you know, take the leap, and I think you'll find that peace that you're looking for. All right, my sweethearts, I hope that this was helpful. I'll see you in the next video. Be sure to comment and let me know if this was helpful to you, okay? I'd like to hear your story.